Welcome to another video of GeoSpinach. Today we are analyzing military operation in cities, and we're going to focus on the strategic level, on the tactical level, and we're going to get into squad operations as well as battalion level operations. The whole point of this video is to show the extremity and how hard it is to conduct military operations in a city. Now, the scenario we have here, well, the irony of the red color, is that we have the red team and then we have the black team which is defending, and we're assuming that this is going to be the attack plan of the red team. Now, if we look closer here, which is the city of Aachen, and let's say the red team for some reason wants to attack Aachen in force, and let's assume it's 2 divisions versus 1 division. The scenario, if we zoom in inside, we come to a situation like this. So the 1 division is going to attack from the north while the other is going to attack from the south. But the whole point I will try to make in this video and will try to show is that this type of operations are very hard to be executed because modern cities are like natural barriers of defense, and since World War II and afterwards, they have been so much urbanized, the quality of the roads has increased, but also the density of the buildings have increased, as well as the quality of the buildings, making all of modern cities, practically speaking, modern fortresses of war. And as you can understand, modern day Europe is like every single piece of land is a city or a village, and thus very defensible. This is very important for people that are interested in the Ukrainian war, the Russian-Ukrainian war, mainly because that area, well, except the Donbas area, the Zaporizhzhia area, back in World War II, while it had much less urbanization, the main battles occurred in the cities, but on the other side, it was so-called countryside. Now, before we go and see the tactical operation, I'm going to zoom in directly to what's happening in the city and the assault. And here we have the black team has 2 regiments on a defense line, so a line across the front, and 1 regiment in defense having some units cross out and ready to support. While the northern division has its 3 regiments aligned and ready to attack the city. Now, this is the general plan of the Red Sea, an attack across the front line. Now, if we zoom in much closer, what we'll see is, well, let's see the northern part, a scenario such as this, where we have 1 company and 1 battalion, and we have the other 4 different companies defending the city on various areas over here. Now, the issues that you will start to see now is here, which each red dot, it's the squad that it's in place in each different building. Now, to understand the impact and the importance of that squad and why cities are so important, we have to look much deeper to see the situation. So here, which is the weakest part of the city defenses, which has only 2 squads defending, and they are getting attacked by much more forces, we have a scenario such as this. So we zoom in again. Now here, the squad, we break it out into different soldiers. The yellow area shows the killing zone. That implies that when a soldier is in a building, it has this view that it can shoot at an enemy. And if you place it right, as an officer on the field, you can create some very strong kill zones, as you can observe over here, for example. This is a very good kill zone. Now, in these kill zones, what happens in war is that the red team here that appears and is ready to assault the enemy team, it's immediately in the vicinity of that kill zone. And as they try to progress and launch their assault, it means that despite the fact that they are in a city, they have to actually cross and move to capture the buildings. If they stay there and shoot at the enemy, then they're not going to be able to breach and actually assault the main city and capture it. They're going to go into a siege mentality. So the only way to actually capture the city is to use assault tactics. And here is the juice of the whole thing, which is a direct assault. By doing so, though, they do manage to, for example, capture the building over here as well as the building over here, and they have entered the building here. They've captured the building in the north. But as you can see, the casualties which they have taken are much more than the casualties that the black team had taken. And as the scenario progresses, so as the red team plans to continue its assault, use its numerical advantage to push forward and capture even more ground, their casualties start to mount up. And again, as the operation moves, so the assault continues, they try to capture building by building, and as they're doing so, again, their casualties are mounting up. And again, the orange here line shows you the fire range of the black team. So as they move, they're still getting fired upon. So in this military operation, the red team has practically lost the vast majority of its troops. It did manage to capture this area over here from their starting point in the north, but the question is, at what cost? Do they currently have more troops to continue the assault? Well, no. More reinforcements have to come in and actually capture the city. And now once you understand this concept, let's zoom out again and see the practicality of this scenario on the tactical level. So as the company will push forward, for example, here, and well, across the front line you can see the battlefield, so attack here, and so forth, to actually breach and assault the city in the minimum amount of time. With the blue lines, you can start to see the damage that each unit is suffering. While the red team is massively outnumbered, because they're defending a city, the red team is receiving much more casualties, and that implies that their organization is also getting decreased. Here we have two battalions, so Battalion 1 and Battalion 2, and now Battalion 1 is heavily damaged, and it has lost quite a lot its ability to attack, but nonetheless they still continue doing so by using pinning operations. We have another video talking about those pinning operations, and they continue the assault. And as they do manage to get more and more ground, the casualties mount up, and we come to a scenario that the land again is slower, lower, and again we come to this scenario where they are practically cannot move any much further with no more reinforcements because of how much casualties they have taken and because their breakthrough ability has diminished. Now, I have another video on breakthrough specifically and what is breakthrough in warfare. Well, the thing is, what makes breakthrough rise dramatically and what is the main factor of breakthrough is the availability of firepower and the precision of firepower, the availability of armor, and the availability of air power. In all of these three cases, a city is the best defense against those three. So, for artillery purposes, if you are in a building and you are receiving artillery fire, the chance that you are going to get killed get massively diminished because you cannot get killed by the shrapnel. So the explosive rounds have to have more explosion ability inside them, so more TNT, but at the same time less shrapnel, which is what actually kills the soldier once the bombs comes in. A tank on a city is practically useless. It doesn't have the ability to shoot up in a good direction, it doesn't have the ability to react to situations, and it's super easy to get destroyed. And air power, where you can't see anyone on the ground. You can use strategic bombing and just bombing the shit out of the city, but the more you break down a city and the more the city gets diminished into smaller and smaller pieces, then that city becomes even more defensible, which is a contrapoint. And this, for example, I've seen in the Battle of Stalingrad. Now, if again we zoom out and we see the tactical level of the division and the regiments that we talked prior, we have the scenario that the red team is attacking across the front line. The black team is trying to hold their ground, and they are managed to push through. So both sides are receiving casualties, but as you can observe, the red team is receiving much more casualties. Now, at this case, the black team uses its reserves and pulls in the reserve unit in to stop the gap. And as the battle progresses and the black team establishes a defensive position, the red team does manage to capture some ground, but as you can see, their casualties have mounted up to such levels that they're practically unable to conduct further their military operation. And thus, they barely manage to capture some ground. Now, if again we zoom out once again, and we go to the whole tactical map, you will see that this whole operation from division, let's say 5, against the division 5 of the black team, they just barely managed to enter the city, and the division just molded. It has received massive casualties, and it has barely managed to cross and push the line. Now, the only way you can avoid this, so the only ways you can capture a city, is either a direct assault on the city, which is what we've described, or it's either a siege or a gradual breakthrough of the city. For example, what we've seen from the Battle of Bakhmut, where you gradually bombard the city, you use your various infantries across the front line, so not only one division, but multiple divisions, to do small tactical attacks, accompanied with artillery, accompanied with air power, and piecemeal capture the front line. So slowly capture the front line. The moment you do manage to capture the front line, then you launch a massive assault across the front for your military operations to commence. The other way to attack a city, which is, well, the way that the majority of the armies prefer to do it, is by an encirclement, or completely avoid the cities. This, for example, is the tactic that the Germans have used in invading the Allies in the 1940s by going through the Ardennes forest. And this military operation just practically shows you this. So we have the first tank army, let's call it, which has 4 armored divisions. And for some reason, they managed to cross through very mountainous terrain, but it did happen before. Let's say they got them by surprise. And a situation such as this appears, where they will continue their assault across the front line, which will practically result in various encirclements. Once you have managed to encircle a unit, as we have talked prior in many other episodes, then it's really easy to destroy the city by just waiting for the soldiers inside to starve out, or just simply gradually assault the city, and as the ammunition of the defendants gets reduced, you will overrun them. But this has the negative effect of forcing you, the defendant, having to spend way much troops in the encirclement of the city rather than continuing your assault. As a result, once big operations commences where encirclements have been achieved, the momentum of the attack gradually gets reduced. And as a result, this is the case because they have to spend way more troops to eliminate the pockets of resistance. For example, the pockets here on the south and the pocket here in the north. So this has been the video. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, recommendations, something else you want to learn about war, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a good day.